Look at this guy.
Put me on the spot right now.
Look at this guy. Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you. Coming in clutch with the purple Powerade. Dude, Cody, unfortunately, this just isn't the video for you.
Why is that?
Because it's X amount of reasons to ride brakes. So, you know, 3 out of the 4 people that'll be here have brakes, and you're just not one of them.
I'll go put some on it now. I'll be right back.
Go put some on. I don't have a whole lot of battery, but enough for this video. So I think we'll start with like the first reason you should have brakes, and it's gonna go from like some obvious reasons to some less obvious reasons. But I think the first reason you should have brakes is because it's like probably the safest way to stop, especially if you're like just starting out. Keep your brakes on your stock bike for a little bit. If you can't bar spin, or I don't know, if you can't do tricks where you take both your hands off, or at least your brake hand off, I would just leave them on. There's no point in taking them off. I know it's like the cool thing to do, and like it's probably hard to adjust for a lot of kids, but I would just leave them on because there's more tricks that you can do, and if you're not doing bar spins, they're not really in your way. So just leave them on. Unless you have a gyro, then you don't even have to worry about it. So if you're a kid starting out, I would recommend just leaving the brakes on. Save yourself a lot of pain. That's an obvious one, but that's just to slow down, just to stop specifically. We'll get to reason 2 in a second. All right, so second reason why I would suggest running brakes kind of goes along with the first one, but if you're like doing jumps for the first time, being able to slow down after the jump so that you don't have too much speed for the next jump is always nice, especially if you don't know how to slow down without brakes, or how to like anti-pump. Yeah, or if you're like coming up to a ramp with too much speed, that's like the hardest spot to slow down, because it's not gonna be safe to put your shoe in your back tire while you're like about to roll up a ramp. So if you have too much speed, it's nice to just have that little speed check there. What? Number 3, probably one that's like not a big deal, one that doesn't matter so much. Doing like feathering the brake on manual tricks. I don't know if it helps, I never did it, but as a kid that might have been cool, having that ability to like keep myself from looping out. Correct bad habits. So I had a bad habit of anti-pumping ramps when I was learning how to air them, because I didn't want to go too high, but I was going way too fast for them, so I would anti-pump to like get up. And that's a good skill to learn, but not a habit to create. So if you're not confident in airing a quarter going like that high, at least you can slow yourself down to a better speed to where you can fully air out the quarter instead of anti-pumping it. That way you're not landing fast, anti-pumping the quarter and creating a bad air out and a bad habit, because that's kind of hard to break. So having the brakes will make it easier to avoid that, because you can slow down before the quarter and hit it at a speed that you're comfortable with, using the entire quarter to pump and air out. There's not a whole lot more. Cody, give me a reason why someone should run brakes.
Why someone should run brakes?
Yeah, why should someone run brakes?
You have different tricks.
Different tricks?
Selection of tricks. Dirt jumps, parks, There's always a lot of snakes.
Dirt, that's a good point. Dirt's like the best place to have brakes, because you never know if you're gonna land too good in that transition. There's really nothing you can do except for overshoot the next jump if you don't have brakes. Or if you come up too short and need to stop before the next jump so that you don't come up short and you just got to get out of there. Brakes are also really nice to have so you can slow down there. Or if you're going into a berm too fast, like all those things, you don't want to have to take your feet off. So brakes are real nice for that. And then as Cody said, it opens up a whole new bag of tricks. It's incredible how many new tricks I got just in the first week of having brakes. Yeah, so it instantly gave me new tricks and kind of made it more fun. So you don't see it too often now, because people that ride brakes are really only using them to stop the back wheel for like tailwhips and stuff. You don't really see big foo-fa-noos. You really don't see a boobakas ever. That's why that's like one of my favorite tricks, because nobody does them. The next reason why I would recommend brakes is so if you're not familiar with like wheel weight being very important, your wheels are not the heaviest parts on your bike, but when they're rotating, they become heavier, and it makes a huge difference when you're doing spin tricks or whip tricks or bar tricks. And so this is specifically talking back brakes, but your wheel, and there's a math to it, but basically when your wheel is spinning, think about it as if it's 4 times heavier than the weight of it off the bike when it's spinning, because you have that rotational weight. So if you have a brake, you stop that rotational weight, then you're not throwing as much weight around in tail whip. So it makes tail whips way easier. It makes like spin tricks, well, I don't know so much spin tricks. I would say tail whips is the biggest example of that. Is it just makes tail whips so much easier because you're spinning less weight around. So if your wheel weighs like a pound, it's like spinning 1 pound around instead of 4 pounds around. And that's not like super accurate. That's just like an example for you. Yeah, it's fun. It's something new. So if you don't do bar spins right now, you could just run a straight cable. It is kind of annoying. Sometimes it gets in the way. You can pad the lever so you don't cut your fingers on it and whatnot. But I say if you're just starting out, if you're a beginner trying to learn some new tricks, I would keep your brakes on, because there's so many things that the brakes can save you from, and so many new tricks that you can learn off rip. I feel like having brakes and learning tricks with brakes enhances your bike control that much more, because you get into different positions with brakes that you would never get into if you didn't have them. Like with foo-fa-noos and a boobakas, like it's just like a different type of bike control that you get by having brakes. If you ride street, maybe you don't want it, maybe it's not the cool thing, maybe brakeless is the cool thing, but I would recommend at least trying them. Even if you're like a pro rider and you just don't ride brakes, throw some brakes on. I guarantee you'll have, like, do 1 session with brakes, I guarantee you'll have like the most fun you've ever had. It's like you just magically got better and learned tricks in your sleep. So that's like the best way I can put it. It's like you put brakes on and you feel like you just like leveled up without doing anything. You just gained all these new tricks without doing anything. Oh yeah, definitely a confidence booster. Because like now you can haul ass at something, and if you're not going fast enough, you can just stop the brake before you die. Or if you're going way too fast, or like landing and going way too fast, you know that you have that brake to slow you down, so you're not going to kill yourself on the next jump or whatever. Also, if you ride in a skate park like this, where there's a lot of little scooter kids that don't really know skate park etiquette, they're nice to have too, because then you can avoid collisions just by grabbing that brake. Alright, anyways, there's a bee. There's a bee. Is it gone? These aren't real flowers, but alright, anyways, yeah, those are my X amount of brake tricks that, those are my X amount of reasons why I think you should try brakes. Maybe not keep them permanently, but why you should at least try brakes, and why you should have brakes on as a kid. Leave them on your stock bike. Don't take them off first. Just get used to your bike with the brakes on. If they're not going to hinder you in any way, if you're not doing bar spins, if you're not doing tuck no handers or anything like that, they probably aren't going to affect you. So just leave them on so that you can learn some bike control. You can learn, you know, proper technique on stuff, so you're not anti-pumping the quarters or going way too fast at box jumps. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. If this video was any bit entertaining or you got anything from this, subscribe so you don't miss out on future content, and we'll see you next time.